I'm going to describe Entra ID conditional access. This is a way that we can go ahead and tell what users can and can't do as far as logging in, accessing resources, and even installing various different applications. It's a great security tool. It allows administrators to control, allow, or deny access to resources based on specific conditions. It's also used to configure multi-factor authentication. Conditional access is considered what's called a zero trust policy engine, and it allows organizations to enforce access controls based on conditions. And I'm going to do a demonstration of how to do this later on in this video. If a user wants to access a resource, such as install an application, then they must satisfy certain conditions, such as performing multi-factor authentication to gain that access. It combines signals like user identity, device state, location, risk detection, all these different ways of making a condition for your conditional access policy. And it enhances security by blocking access or requiring stronger authentication or restricting user sessions when they don't meet those particular requirements. I'm in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center at admin.microsoft.com, and I'm going to go to where it says Active Users. Now inside Active Users, I need to make sure that the user that creates a conditional access policy has a P1 or P2, which is a Premium Entra ID license. So I'll go to Licenses and Apps, and you can see I've got an Azure Active Directory Premium P1. This is called an Azure Active Directory Premium license because it used to be called Azure Active Directory, but they renamed it to Entra ID. They just haven't quite synced up all the different documentation that calls it by the new name. So after you go ahead and purchase and add in your P1 or P2 license, as I have shown how to purchase licenses in a previous Azure AZ-900 video, then you can go to the Azure portal. Inside the Azure portal, I'm going to click on Microsoft Entra ID. If you don't see it here, you can go ahead and click on Search at the top. Now once I'm in my Entra ID section, I want to go down to the left-hand side where it says Security. Inside Security, under Protect, you're going to see Conditional Access. This is where we create and edit any of our conditional access policies. So I've already got one policy created that I'd done in a previous demonstration, so let's take a look at it. In this case, it's an Adobe application for my Portland office. So it says Adobe App for Portland. You can see the assignments, the specific users that are included, and you can add or subtract from those users. In this case, we can see the Add Application Group, and if I want to add users to that group, I can do that in Entra ID. Then you can see the target resources. The target resources are going to be, in this case, the Adobe Acrobat application. Then the location. Do they meet the location requirements? In this case, it's going to be any network, but you can certainly change it if you'd like. And the policy has been set to enable. I'm going to go back to conditional access and create a new policy, but this time I'm going to create a policy from a template that's going to require multi-factor authentication. Here you can see a lot of different templates that allow you to create your own brand new type of policy. So we have secure foundation policies, zero trust, remote work, all different types. I'm going to choose to require multi-factor authentication for admins. If I click View, it'll give me an idea of what this is going to do and who it's going to affect. So it's going to require multi-factor authentication for all these different groups. However, it's going to exclude the user that I'm logged in with, because that way, if for some reason I accidentally block myself out from being able to log in, then that would be a real problem. So you can see under excluded users, it's going to be current user. So I'm going to choose to review and create. I'm going to choose the policy name. I'll just leave it as the default. And at this point, I'm going to leave it as report only. Report only is a good idea because it's going to report on anything that triggers this particular policy. Then once you realize how it's going to affect your network, you can go ahead and turn it on or make changes. If I scroll down, you can see all the different users and groups it's going to affect based on role-based access control. And it's going to affect everything as far as access to cloud apps, or all apps in this case. and it's going to grant access after the user is logged in with multi-factor authentication. So I'll go ahead and click Create. I'll go back to Policies. And now we see the Require MFA for Admin. And here's my policy. And once again, I can go ahead and make changes to it as needed. Microsoft really wants you to know and understand what a conditional access policy is for your AZ-900 exam. Mostly, they want you to know that this is great for security and limiting users until they meet certain security requirements.